All right, so I'm just going to make sure that I am still recording. This is all going to be edited out anyway, so this is almost done. Okay. This is all still recording, yada, yada, yada. And now we are going to be. So, what I'm doing right now is I just did a dive into Google and asked this question and then got this. So, we're going to go through this response and then I'm going to make the transition into reading my essay. In their famous 1985 debate on the existence of God, Christian apologist Greg Bonson presented the Transcendental Argument for the existence of God, often referred to as TAG, as I said at the very beginning. This is the core argument. It presupposes God. That's called begging the question. That's called assuming you're consequent, right? Bonson argued that God must exist because an atheistic worldview cannot account for the basic rational preconditions of human experience. Yeah, I have to read that over again. All right, but I'm not going to edit it out. I'm not going to edit that out. Bonson argued that God must exist because an atheistic worldview cannot account for the basic rational preconditions of human experience. What are the basic rational preconditions? Did you prove that? Did you even argue that? Did anybody ever challenge you on your claim? I mean, come on, people. I mean, I was a part of this group. I swallowed this debate hook, line, and sinker. But it was a great formal debate. But Greg Bonson's claim is begging the question. It's a logical fallacy, Greg, from the other side. Dr. Bonson, calling Dr. Bonson. Your claim is a pure logical fallacy, dude. And no one knows this? Nobody knows this? Things like the laws of logic, the uniformity of nature, which is science, which isn't what half of you think it is, because everything that you think is scientific is not scientific. And you've been hornswoggled into falling for false narratives about where you live, what this place is, and because you don't know what this place is, you don't know where you are, and you don't know when you are. And then that leads to the whole snafu of the fact that you don't know who, what, or why you are. Get ready, buckle up, pop the popcorn, get the whiskey. Yeah, this is going to be deep. Things like the laws of logic, the uniformity of nature, that is, we can rely on the sun to rise the next day. We can rely on water to be wet. We can rely on high. It's always going to be what it's always been. It's always going to be what it has always been. What has it always been? This. Except this is now. Is it now? That's in Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I mean, okay. Things like the laws of logic, the uniformity of nature, and absolute moral standards. What is like who coined that phrase? Absolute moral standard. What are you talking about, dude? Like, did anybody? Nobody. Like Gordon Stein didn't even address the claim that is. Anyway, I'm just dealing with this one right now. Absolute moral standards cannot make any sense without assuming that God exists. So therefore, God exists. I want God to exist because you can't be a good person unless there's a God. Listen to that. I want my Jesus to exist because without him, you can't be a good person, you good person. I mean, you've been lied to. If you are a Christian and you're listening to me right now, you are a very, very good person. And I love you. That's what Jesus says to you. I love you. And that's what I'm saying to you right now. I love you. If you are a well-intending religious fan of theology and whatever else is important to you about your tradition, I don't want to take that away from you. That's not my role. I'm here talking about my experience and how it makes sense to me. And if this is making sense to you, then I would appreciate your contribution by making comments and asking questions and even challenging me. Because if you can argue against me with logic, then I have nothing to say, but recant my claim. All right. So hmm, this whole I hope you can understand. I'm gonna say it again. This is a logical fallacy. This whole argument is a logical fallacy. Guess what that means? It's invalid. It's an invalid claim. Like, why was this debate ever allowed? You know what I mean? Sorry, by the rules of the, sorry, Greg. Greg, I know that you're an apologist, and I know that. I get that. I just have one question. Isn't your claim a logical fallacy, dude? What are you talking about? You have to assume you're consequent. The only way that you assume you're consequent is when you realize that you're the only predicate to your consequent. Think about that one. The transcendental proof for God's existence. I'm going to start over again because that was a pretty good wittism. The transcendental proof for God's existence is that without him, it's impossible to prove anything. Bonson contended that atheists inconsistently borrow from the Christian worldview to use reason, which is borrowing from Cornelius Van Til, which is borrowing from whomever said uh, that it's like the atheist has to climb up into God's lap and say, I don't believe in you, but I'm here sitting on your lap, but I don't believe in you. That's not what atheism is, right? You simply because you have a philosophical argument for a being that you think is spirit, infinite, eternal, and unchangeable, and his wisdom and his glory and his power and his knowledge and his beneficence forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. As above, so below, as within, so without. Right?